Okay. 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 Okay, so I just read through the document a little bit, and it seems like in the pipeline walkthrough, we actually did kind of already cover the server request things at a high level. Um, Kind of the same way we did with like the way the parts relate to the map walkthrough, the actual diagram, which is making me question essentially, do we need this extra section server and data reference? Like maybe data reference we still want to have. But for server references, I'm not sure if this is needed, and if it is, if this is where it would belong. Like, if anything, wouldn't this just be like its own thing outside of the introduction? Like the first section here is map, document overview, and pipeline, right? It should be like document overview, pipeline, and data structure, and then like the next section after that, I think maybe would be like breaking down these server steps the same way we break down the different API calls below, like parts 1 through 4. That would either go, I guess, before parts 1 through 4, meaning like the server side breakdown goes before. This is not like a prompt, it's just like essentially explaining what's going on, right? And then, yeah, that can either live before or after the the 4 parts. Hold on, let me just scroll down and find this here. Yeah, after the 4 parts. Um, yeah, or even it could be sandwiched in between potentially, but that breaks up the parts then, which is not what we want. So, um, yeah, like basically what I'm thinking is should server the full like explanation of what happens at on the server side at each of the steps where it runs. That should probably just be its own section. Live. So let me know what you think, and then we can go from there. But I think the data structure should be in that first like level of the document still. I think. Yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, yeah. So I want you to strip everything that's inside of server implementation right now and just rebuild this structure. So we're set up to do it when we get there. I think there's a bunch of random stuff going on right now that I don't necessarily follow because I haven't looked through it. So I want to just build the server implementation section from scratch when we get there. And then as for section 1, yeah, let's make sure we have that structure you just recommended now. And then we'll pick up by doing the data structures. And then we will continue on with part 1 after that. Good. And that should be at the bottom now. Yeah. Okay, so it is actually tomorrow already, and I want to now build the data structure. So what I want you to do is basically, I want to walk through the entirety of the data structure. So essentially the entire input capture table, and then all of the currently defined um, deliverable tables. And I want to see the full structure, essentially like a description of each of the fields and what their role is. So before you go and implement that, let's come up with a template for what we're going to essentially, like how we're going to give the details for the data structure, meaning some sort of like table structure or whatever for like field name, field use, like table it lives in, blah, 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 whatever. Like that's not necessarily the idea, but you know what I mean. Like some sort of structure to essentially detail all of the different data tables, fields, subfields, all of that. And there should be one of those full like tree diagrams, you know, where it shows the full branching of the entire data structure for each of the tables, basically. So yeah, come up with a plan for that. Let me know what you have, and then we'll build that out. Yeah, I think that is a solid plan. I want you to look in the North Star as well as the old LLM prompts plan file and basically use whatever the most up-to-date context is. So there will be some things inside of the LLM prompts plan file that is probably contradictory to what's in the North Star because I hadn't handled the merge back yet, but there should be supplementary context inside of the prompts plan file that kind of details that. So yeah, just take a look across both of those files and essentially execute the plan that you just said while accounting for all that enriched data structure across both of those files. Yeah, ensure that there's nothing stale or contradictory, and make sure that we're actually accounting for the most updated and accurate version of the data structure. Okay, I do not like what we did just now inside of the data structure column. Seems messy, kind of all over the place. Um, let's remove that and try to go through this maybe part by part, because it seems redundant and kind of all over the place right now. So let's just strip it back to just being the section template, and then we're gonna build it essentially section by section and not let it get all over the place. Also, there's definitely some things that are not accurately accounted for here. Like you're referencing things that are true in the North Star, but we had actually updated um, those things in the LLM prompts plan file. And like I said in the last prompt I gave you, that we should be overriding what the North Star says with whatever the LLM prompts plan file says, because that's the most recent working version. And then, yeah, I just hadn't done the merge back to the North Star yet to update that stale context. So keep that in mind moving forward, and let's go about this from scratch again, I guess. I want you to even strip the subsections inside of data structures, like literally just leave it completely blank, and we'll go from scratch. Okay, this is gonna be a tomorrow issue. It's gonna take too long.